The book of Ruth is a not very often talked about book of the Bible, but very intriguing story. It covers the story of this girl named Naomi who got married, moved, and had 2 sons. Her husband and her 2 sons sadly passed away, leaving her with her daughter-in-laws, one of which is named Ruth. We're going to start by reading through Ruth chapter 1, verses 2 through 6. This is talking about the death of her sons and her husband. The man's name was Elimelech. His wife's name was Naomi. The names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion. They were Ephraimites from Bethlehem in Judah. They went to Moab and lived there. Naomi's husband Elimelech died. She was left with her 2 sons. They got married to women from Moab. One of them was named Orpah, one was named Ruth. Naomi's family lived in Moab for about 10 years. Then Mahlon and Chilion also died. So Naomi was left without her 2 sons and her husband. So what just happened is Naomi's husband just died. His name was Elimelech. They had 2 sons together. The 2 sons died, but before they died, they had 2 wives. Names were Ruth and Orpah. And Orpah isn't too big in the story. Ruth is really the main one we focus on. Naomi and Ruth will become the main characters of the story. So we're going to continue in verse 6 of Ruth chapter 1. While Naomi was in Moab, she heard that the Lord had helped his people. He had begun to provide food for them again. So Naomi and her daughter-in-laws prepared to head back from Moab to her home. She left the place where she had been living. Her 2 daughter-in-laws went with her. They started out on the road that would take them back to the land of Judah. Naomi spoke to both her daughter-in-laws. "Both of you go back," she said. "Each of you go to your own mother's home. You were kind to your husbands who have died. You also must be kind to me. So may the Lord be just as kind to you. May he help each of you find a secure place in the home of another husband. May he give you peace and rest." Then she kissed them goodbye. They broke down and sobbed loudly. They said to her, "We'll go back to you with your people." But Naomi said, "Goodbye, go home, my daughters. Why would you come with me? Am I going to have any more sons that could become your husbands? Go home, my daughters. I am too old to have another husband. I suppose I thought there was still some hope for me. Suppose I got married to another man tonight, and later I had sons with him. Would you wait until they grew up? Would you stay single until you get married to them? No, my daughters. My life is more bitter than yours. The Lord's powerful hand has been against me." When they heard that, they broke down and sobbed again. Then Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth held on to her. So right now, Ruth is staying with Naomi. Orpah has left. She says in verse 16, "Don't try to make me leave you and go back. Where you go, I'll go. Where you stay, I'll stay. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. Where you die, I'll die. And there my body will be buried. I won't let anything except death separate you from me. If I do, may the Lord punish me greatly." Ruth was a member of the Moabite religion. So here is a very impactful moment where she's completely changing her religion so she won't leave her mother-in-law. And this is pretty crazy. She says, "Where you go, I'll go. Your God will be my God." And so here she's changing her God because of the love she has for her mother-in-law. And this has a really big impact, which you are about to see. This is an image of when Ruth is meeting Boaz for the first time in his field of wheat. It says in Ruth chapter 2, verse 2, Ruth, who was from Moab, spoke to Naomi. She said, "Let me go out to the fields. I'll pick up the grain that has been left. I'll do it behind anyone who is pleased with me." This is basically meaning people who didn't have the money to get the food and the things that they needed to survive. They could go in the field and pick up the leftover wheat that wasn't picked by the collectors of the wheat, people that farm the wheat and all of that. So the less fortunate who didn't have all the things that people had, they could go behind in the fields and take the wheat they needed. Amy and Ruth, who just moved here and were homeless and had no food, were going to go to the field of wheat and collect the leftover wheat. In Ruth chapter 2, verse 5, it says, Boaz spoke to the man who was in charge of his workers. He asked, "Who is that young woman?" The man replied, "She is from Moab. She came from there with Naomi." She said, "Please, let me walk behind the workers. Let me pick up the grain that is left." She went into the field. She has kept on working there from morning until now. Verse 8. So Boaz said to Ruth, "Dear woman, listen to me. Don't pick up grain in any other field. Don't go anywhere else. Stay here with my female servants. Keep your eye on the fields where the men are cutting. Walk behind the women who are gathering it. Pick up the grain that is left. I've told the men not to touch you. When you are thirsty, go and get a drink. Take waters from the men that I filled." Ruth now goes on to eat lunch with Boaz. She stays with him for a while, and she goes back. And in verse 19, she's returned to her mother-in-law in town. Verse 19. Her mother-in-law asked her, "Where did you pick up that grain today? Where did you work? May the man who noticed you be blessed." She's picked up about half a bushel, which is a lot of wheat. Then Ruth told her about the man whose field she had worked in. "The man I worked in today, his name is Boaz. May the Lord bless him," Naomi said to her daughter-in-law. "The Lord is being kind to those who are living and those who are dead." She continued, "This man is a close relative of ours. He's one of our family protectors." Then Ruth, who is from Moab, he told me more. He said, "Stay with my workers until they have finished bringing in all my grain." Naomi replied to her daughter-in-law Ruth, "That will be good for you, my daughter. Go to his female servants. You might be harmed if you go to someone else's field." So Ruth stayed close to the female servants of Boaz as she picked up grain. So this is the first time Ruth and Boaz meet. And by this meeting, Ruth has just secured herself food, a home, and she's going to supply for both her and her mother-in-law. And by Ruth meeting Boaz, it leads into a very important connection. And the genealogy of all that is we're about to get into. So let's get going. The timeline of people that led up to Jesus is incredible and it's full of sin. And Ruth and Boaz are actually very important in its timeline. Ruth chapter 4, verse 13 talks about the marriage of Boaz and Ruth. This marriage and the birth of their son Obed created the entire line of David, and David led to the birth of Christ. And the birth of Christ led to the death of Christ, which led to our salvation.